Hey, it's your buddy, AVT Pro. Have you ever asked this question? What if you're going to school, if you're studying, if you're in high school, and you ask this question, I'm about to save you. I'm gonna give you the answer, and I'm gonna save you a heck of a lot of time. I'm gonna save you from making a lot of mistakes because I'm gonna give you the answer so that you know. If you ask this question, here's the question. I have to give you the question, and then I'll answer the question. And it's a very, very profound question that most people ask when they're in school or when they're studying. They ask the question, if you're sitting in trigonometry class and let's say you want to be a doctor, and you say, well, what does trigonometry want to be a doctor? No. You say, I want to be a basketball player. What does trigonometry has to do with basketball? What does it have to do with it? If you ever say this, and most people say this has nothing to do with what I'm planning to do with my life. That's such a profound statement. That turns so many, even smart people. I like to include myself in that. But I wasn't smart then. I became smart later after I started studying. So I became intelligent. Intelligence is a process. Okay. So at that time that I asked that question, I wasn't intelligent enough. Or maybe it was wisdom. I wasn't wise enough to ask the question. Let me get back to it because you know how I do, and I keep y'all hanging on the edge with it. If you ever ask, what does this have to do with what I'm trying to learn? I asked the question when I was in high school, and I wasn't intelligent. I wasn't that very intelligent. But I said to myself, I asked an intelligent question. I was in class. I wasn't so happy about school. I wasn't so happy about a lot of things in my life at that time. And, I looked on the board and they were working with slope. Slope. Do you know what that is? It is mathematical formulas for deriving different angles and the oscillating curves and things like that. I think it's something like that. But I looked at it. If I was paying attention that day, I would give you a very direct answer. But it's plotting the points on a grid that defines a curve, a slope, and using mathematical formulas to define it. And I looked at the board and I made a good deduction. And I said, what does that have to do with me? What does slope have to do with what I want to be? I want to be an artist. An artist paints, an artist draw. Now, the interesting thing was I could paint and draw. And so I was quite sure that had nothing to do with being an artist. You know, you might be a great basketball player and have some talent, but you haven't become intelligent. You haven't developed it yet. You know, you don't really know what it's about. But when you're younger, you have a little bit of talent, and as they say, a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. You don't see the whole picture yet. And so you can't answer the whole question. But the question is, what does that have to do with what I want to be? What is trigonometry has to do with me being an artist? I used to paint. Oils, canvas, painting, berries, colors, beautiful colors. You take a pencil, you draw. That's what I did. That's all I ever wanted to do. That's still what I do now. But there's the big paradigm shift. 3-letter word, but. But what I didn't know is that I didn't know. The question could not be answered at that time. The question couldn't be answered because, as intelligent and as smart as a question was, what does this have to do with what I want to do? I couldn't answer the question because of one large missing variable. I did not know the future. If I knew the future, I could answer that question. The fact that I could not answer that question was because I could not see the future. The answer to the question of what does that have to do with anything you want to do, what does math have to do with basketball? What does math have to do with football? What does English have to do with it? The answer to the question is you don't know what you don't know because you don't know the future. What now? I'll tell you how that relates. Why I could not answer that question because I didn't know what I didn't know. If you don't know something, then how can you answer it? If you don't know, how do you know? If you don't know what you don't know, how can you possibly answer the question? You don't know it. And the question is you don't know the future. The answer to your question is you don't know the future. So you cannot answer that question. So you need to study. What you don't know about the future, and what I eventually found out, is that as an artist, back then, we painted, we drew. We didn't know anything, nothing about computers, personal computers. We didn't know, and I didn't know, that all artwork, mostly a lot of artwork, or what I would be doing as an artist, has everything to do with slope. Plotting curves, using histograms, using adjustment curves, using F curves, using sine waves, cosines. That's what I do now. As an animator and an artist, if you want to work for Pixar, you have to know those curves. You have to know how to adjust them. You have to know the tangency, the balance, the different types of curves, the interpolations, and all of those things that have to do with those curves. Bezier curves, linear curves, vectors, all of it is math. I didn't know that we would have personal computers and that we would be doing animation. I didn't know because they weren't invented yet. I didn't know the future. Neither do you. So the reason why you have to stay in school and you have to learn all that is given to you is because no knowledge is wasted. If I had knew then what I knew now, what I know now, I would know about curves, histograms, and how that will play a part in convergent technology and being an artist. I'd be way ahead again. I still say to myself, I kick myself in the butt, God, I would be 10 years above where I am now. 10 years. I still got there. I still learned it. I could have learned it 10 years faster if I just, that day, didn't put my head down. If I had just said, I don't know, but I'm going to just study it anyway. God bless you all. Love you all.